Order, order. Let's settle down for the last session of the day, please. Thank you. Yes.
Yes, sir. We may please begin.
So we'll begin with the last session of the day, and cliche is last but not the least, and certainly not. We may have a guest speaker on the empty chair a little while later. So any of you can be called, just be ready, okay? Anyone who's in the hall is liable to be called to this chair, so please be ready, huh? Don't try to escape.
So keep us sitting on your own chair.
Yeah, some people will not be called for sure. Keep sitting on your own chair. Okay, so we're on the Olympics and on India's Olympic chances, and generally we have a panel which is, I'll have to say this, very experienced. And even though I have two ladies, I must say they're very experienced, very senior, and they have seen much water flowing under the bridge. We have a veteran sports journalist who has covered how many Olympics, Prabhjot? Six Olympic Games. Prabhjot has been present at 6 Olympic Games. He's covered, he's said 6, so must be. One winter, that's also Olympics. So 7 Olympic Games, one including a winter Olympic Games. And we have Manjusha ji, who's a badminton champion, who is an Olympian, who is basically not an Olympian, but yes, definitely an international badminton player. And she is also with Indian Oil as the head of sports. So Indian Oil is encouraging sports at the grassroots. Radhica Sreeman ma'am has recently superannuated, so that people don't understand the meaning of the word. I mean, sorry for that audience. So superannuated recently, and she is has done yeoman service to the sports in India, including, and I was very thrilled to hear that, the Paralympics contingents which have been going, but many other achievements in sports. All three personalities on the stage are eminently qualified to talk about India's Olympic chances and the Olympian times and whatever else. So I'm going to start with a generic question to all three of you, and where is Indian sports at the moment and what has changed? Where is Indian sports at the moment? What has changed? Prabhjot ji. Sorry to bring the gentleman first. He's sitting next to me. I know the theme of the day is women and
Yeah, ever since I started reporting sports, I think things have changed a lot. Not in team games, but in individual sports. India was not supposed to do well in individual sports earlier, but now India is not doing that well in team sports as they are doing in individual sports. So this shift has helped India to come up on world sports scene, be it tennis, be it badminton, be it boxing, be it wrestling. Any sport which is individual, Indian women have been doing very well. And I have been covering Olympics. I saw Abhinav Bindra when in Athens, he was in the final. But as a sports psychologist may have the answer, but in the final, he was supposed to win the gold.
Yes.
But in the final, he fumbled and we lost. But though Rajyavardhan won a medal there. And since then, I've seen, like when P.V. Sindhu was playing the final in Rio,
Yeah.
and Mrs. Ambani was there also. But that Danish girl, she prevailed upon her. So somewhere I think Indian sports has come of an age, especially women's sports. After parents started putting their faith in their girl child and put them through rigors of training, be it shooting, be it in tennis, be it in badminton, we have seen results. And those results are continuing forward. And when we go to Paris in 3 months' time, I hope Indian tally will have more women medalists than men. Why I say so, though we in women hockey, we have not qualified. We were expecting Indian women to do well, but they couldn't, from Asian Games, they couldn't do that. And then in Ranchi tournament also, they couldn't qualify. Leave aside team games. I said, because team games, I still feel, personal my feeling, India doesn't have much of a chance, being such a huge country, it's a continent. training, putting girls together, putting boys together, training them, giving one training schedule is so difficult to get the results. Then having individual players being set for center of excellence or other places, and when they train, and with parent sport and government sport, and also sport coming from NGOs. So results are coming up. So I think we should focus, if we focus more and more on indoor sports, we'll have better results.
Very well said, very well encapsulated in such a short while. Manjusha, when you started playing badminton and now when you are an administrator, you're heading a sports body, how does it feel, that journey, and what has changed? A very short while available, but whatever you can tell us.
I think the first answer that I'll give is that what I dreamt of as a player and the system that I dreamt of, I can just see it visualizing now. So that's a huge change.
Whatever you dreamt of is now
yes,
coming.
it is happening now. I can just see it, and so it is wonderful at least to witness it. I could do it. I thought of many things that should have been in place, the facilities that are there, the coaching, the training setup, mental setup, nutrition, everything so divided. The schemes that the government put in place, right from the grassroots level of Khelo India, where you have the money transferred to the players' account, which was just unheard of in our time, and that gives so much of confidence to even a state level player, and everything depends on confidence. It just starts there when you're recognized by the center, or from the top authority saying that you're good enough even as a state player and you get money in your account. I think you become a champion at that level, and that we miss, but to see it happen, so that means we're on the right road.
I think I must interrupt you because somebody's taking notes for the media. I think that is the quote of the day. Everything depends on confidence. Please send that to the media. Okay, go ahead.
And of course, now as a role as a sports administrator, I value that role also. As a player, I didn't realize we didn't get this, we didn't get that. So now I'm joined on the other force, and I realize it is a huge responsibility, and there's a lot of learning that I can take from from my sitting on my right. Because she's been a great sports administrator, and I think we're doing really well. If I look at the Olympics that is coming up, I think in badminton we have very realistic men's doubles medal, Chirag and Satvik, very realistic. They're world number 1, and so nothing short of a medal for them. Lakshya Sen is very, very close. He'll have to play his best. I hope he remains injury free, then I think he can make it. Sindhu, if that girl has given so many medals to India, 5 world championship medals. The match which Sir said against Carolina Marin, I think we still remember the entire match. So I think that's when we learned to watch women badminton match, and the entire country enjoyed that match. So if she does it a third time, it will just be the golden girl of India. And Mirabai Chanu, I think she's come back strong in weightlifting and in wrestling. If Antim and Vinesh can make it, it'll be really good. I really, really feel very, very sad that the women's hockey team did not make it, but I think in the next 4 years, they will do some revamping, and hopefully in LA they make it.
I think some of your answer has skipped to the next round of my questions, but I know you're very passionate about the sport. No, it's perfectly fine. I will come to the details. But just to talk about you, and that you said, ma'am, sitting on my right. So when the administration is on your right side and you are the sports person, you are the player, she's the administrator. When the administration is right on your right side and the confidence which comes. So Radhika, how have you seen it become easy for you to do what you should do within the system?
Thank you. After hearing varied views coming from people, and few of the panelists were critical of government.
Mike.
The free toasters.
Yeah. Although I don't work for the government anymore, but I still do have my feelings for the government, and particularly what we used to do in Sports Authority and what they are doing now. So, I mean, there's a lot of human angle which has aided or hasten the sports performance. Mr. Brasher is also a colleague of mine, and I think he retired before me. So those were the days when things were not easy for sportsmen. Somehow, I used to hate the word authority, though sports authority gave me my bread and butter. So the rebel in me always, told me that I should not be authoritative. So I played different roles from, being in the office to heading a regional center. So always there was authority. So what I always tried to, mix head and heart. So I think that's what made a difference so far as I'm concerned. And most of my players, they understood what I was trying to say, and they supported me. I supported them. So it was like my aim was to create a home away from home. So that's how things have changed.
Yeah, so we'll change the batting order now. I have to bring cricket. So we'll start with you again. So you were at the grassroots and you were at the headquarters, and plus times have changed. So what perspective did you gain and how much better is it now? Like she says, she's now seeing the fruition of those dreams while she's watching the game take place. So how much of those dreams that you may have had have been fulfilled as an administrator?
Quite a bit. See, in earlier days when I joined in '86, there wasn't enough money. And if I remember, we started with the National Sports Physical Fitness Program. And then small cricket. Cricket was never under Sports Authority really because cricket was doing well. But there was small football and things like that. But over a period of time, there were new schemes which got introduced. And then we got sponsorship from the private sector. Then, particularly if you were to ask me the last 5 years, wherein the top scheme started in somewhere in 2014, but it was revamped in 18, and from 19 onwards, the athletes were really taken care of. They had their personal coaches, they had their gadgets, they had the, wherever they wanted to go for foreign training. So that was a big shift. So almost everybody would want to be a tops athlete. Although it's not to say that if you're not a tops athlete, you're not taken care of. We have our national camps and all our infrastructure is very well developed. We have equipments, we have foreign coaches, we have Indian coaches as well who are equally competent, if not more. So that shift has really contributed, and like Manjusha said, yes, maybe in her time she could not see those, and those things are fructified now, and in times to come it's going to only improve.
Right, well
And
said.
also the role of social media,
Has
which
increased
has been tremendous
in the positive sense.
in the positive.
Right.
Negative also, but I would want to look at the positives.
I think it's largely enabled girls to dream, boys to dream. They feel that they can be like these people and they can fulfill their ambitions. Manjusha ji, I want to ask you as a sports person, as a woman, because our theme is we have to fulfill that mandate also. When you were starting out, how difficult was it as a girl sportswoman to play in society firstly? Was your family one of sports persons? And of course it's become much easier now. So what is the transformation?
I started my badminton in Pune, Maharashtra. So I think I was lucky in the sense that already in Pune a lot of girls and boys were encouraged to play and choose their art and culture, and we had that sort of, so there was no problem in actually starting something. But of course, the time came when you have to choose between studies and sport, and my father also said that so you work hard, but will there be a job and what will you do? And so there were questions in their mind. They didn't put that on me, but I could see it in their eyes that they're wondering what to do. I think I had it easy because I was not so good in studies, so it was very easy for me, so I had to do something. And luckily and therefore I played, and therefore it was very easy for me to choose.
Deliberately you didn't do well in studies so that you could play.
No.
That is also possible.
It was very easy, and I said, okay, let me just do something. And I then had a very good coach, a very simple district level coach whose, just a finger I took and he took me from higher and higher. So it was not very difficult, but as I went ahead, in an individual sport, it's little better than in a team sport. I think in a team sport, you face a lot more problems. As a girl in individual sport, you still have your own place and you can still are protected in an atmosphere because you train and you can choose your team. So it's much easier in individual sport. And going ahead, I'll just add to, though you have not asked me, is a woman in sports administration. That is a little tough.
That's tougher?
And yes, it is tough. And I would love a toolkit from my right and also from playwright, that if you can give us a toolkit and if we can have more women in sports administration, I think that will be the key change, for women in sport, that they will be on the same table making decisions along with the other men, and it will be it's very, very tough. Believe me, and my hats off to Radhika ma'am, how many years she has, I can't just imagine what it must have been to have those key decisions, because when we say women in sport, there are those key decisions, policy decision making that happens, and it should happen right from the top, decisions, and those have to be planned so that, there are more women playing sport in the country and accessible. So there I'm still facing challenges, still learning, hope it will get better.
I have two takeaways from you and I have two comments. Firstly, I also face the same dilemma after playing Sikh and I do that engineering karo ya cricket khelo. So I went for padhai because my father told me you better study, unless you're playing for India, you better go to studies, and I went. So I couldn't pretend to be bad at studies or something. So I was okay. Secondly, the more important fact is that I think toolkits cannot provide solutions for life situations. So there are situations in life which are so demanding and challenging, we have to take our own decision. So there is no one answer to this question, but definitely India needs to improve, and that's where I bring in Prabhjot ji. Now let's put on a very analytical, journalistic kind of domain for you. I want you to analyze Indian sport if it had not had government, sarkari, administrative interference, non-sportsmen as at the helm of affairs, people in associations, federations, including BCCI, which is said to be a hot shot and doing so well, who have never played the game. So why has India suffered on this count? What can be done now?
That's a very excellent question. You see, this is my favorite subject. Sports and politics, they normally don't go hand in hand. But sports has its own kind of politics.
And bureaucracy also.
And same as politics has its own sports. Both. When you see, like, I tell you, people who are politically opposed to each other, they are friends in sports.
Yeah, you can.
See the history of Indian sports. Mr. Vivek Atray, Mr. Suresh Kanwar, different parties, but always together in sports. But when sportsmen get into politics, they have proved failure.
Yeah.
None of the sportsmen have ever succeeded doing much for sports. Maybe Mr. Rajavardhan, maybe anybody else, maybe Chetan Chauhan remained MP, maybe Dilip Terki. So many of them got into politics. Now Harbhajan is there, Sachin Tendulkar was there, those were nominated, but they couldn't make an impact. But when politicians come to sports, they dominate sports. And they have been dominating sports for a very, very long time, which has done, in my personal opinion, a lot of damage to Indian sports. Because they clung to sports, their sports bodies, and they never left the bodies. They governed those bodies for a very, very long time without giving any chances. Not only politicians, but also some of the bureaucrats. For example, if Punjab lost its hold in hockey for a while, it was because police continued to dominate hockey for a number of years. And when Mr. Ashwin Kumar, though he was a great friend of mine, my mentor also, but I always used to tell him, because you wanted players, Indian players, only to play for Punjab Police. Moment they left Punjab Police, you would throw them out of Indian team. So that sort of politics which happened in Indian sports, it continues to happen, even now. So that role should have gone. Now, Sebastian Coe, he was an Olympian.
No.
He organized the London Olympic Games. And he's the first one of all international sports federations who has announced that the winners in Paris Olympics, athletic events, will get $50,000 each. And that has created a big controversy in the world of sports. Others, international sports federations are saying, why you decided alone? Because now all the players, a swimmer says, I have to work much harder to win an Olympic gold. If not harder, then at least that much as an athlete.
Honestly,
But if athlete gets $50,000 and I don't get anything, so they will turn against their international sports federations. So all international sports federations, basically, if you see at international level, are run by Olympians. Many countries, I went to Rio, the chief organizer was an Olympian. Thomas Bach himself is an Olympian. Sebastian Coe is an Olympian. But we in India, we have an Olympian as our Olympic Association president. But then, I don't know, I don't want to comment on that.
No.
But we have to keep sports free from politicians.
absolutely.
And if we give more sportsmen more chances to do well, I think sports will definitely look up than what we have done since independence.
I think it's absolutely correct, and I'll add something. You see, the NCA director is VVS Lakshman,
Right.
and Ajit Agarkar came as the chairman of selectors. BCCI is able to pay these people very well. Now, they are top sportspersons who became administrators or directors or whatever. If we get in more sportspersons into running the sport, we have to pay them well. Government has to enhance the budgets, and it is also a fact, okay, IAS officers may be required at times, but we can create a cadre of sportspersons in administration. I mean, Radhika ma'am would be the first to agree with me. I mean, we need to encourage, because unless you're sports-minded at heart, you cannot really do justice. So, perfectly fine. I was surprised for Mr. Lokpalli, the chair is empty. Kindly come, I have a question for you. No, please come. The chair is empty. So I didn't spring a surprise on anyone else. I know he can handle it. Mr. Nakai could also have handled it, but आपको वहीं पे पूछ लेंगे. आइए, please come.
Question go right.
नहीं, now you can't ask any question.
Yeah.
So I have a quick now rapid fire for you. For how is India going to do in the Olympics? We are video recording you. We will watch the video after the Olympics. So what is your prediction? You already made some predictions. What is your prediction? Where are we? What do we need to do in future also? Just add a bit of that. Prabhjot ji, you start so that Vijay ji gets time to catch his breath. First you, then we go that way.
You see,
Yes.
in case like the things which have happened in the last 6 months, if they had not happened, I would have straight away said India would have done much better. We would expect much better results than the development which have taken place in the last 6, 7 months, 8 months. The course, maybe wrestling fiasco, maybe other games fiasco. So this has put like a negative impact on our sports. But still I am very hopeful India will at least match, if not improve upon its Tokyo performance in the coming games.
Yes, that's. I mean, it will be wonderful if they can match. I think then we would be still very successful, and I really look forward. I'm praying that the men's hockey team, because the team medal brings in different euphoria, and the men's hockey team. I hope that they can go on up or just retain what they did. That will be wonderful.
As a break, I was invited to speak to the men's hockey team in Bangalore.
Yeah.
And Graham Reed was the coach at that time. I spent half a day with them. So I found them to be so receptive, so eager. And he tells me that some of the boys are from such families that they've never slept on the bed, especially at Dunlop mates. So even in a 5-star, they sleep on the floor. Those hockey players, by habit. And Prasharji knows the football players. So the thing is that It's that confidence, that mindset, which makes them perform better than they can or worse than they can. Skill-wise, there's no match. Even fitness today, and this is the real change in Indian sport, including all sports, Indian boys and girls are as fit as most countries in the world. Radhika, your opinion now.
Yeah, I quite agree with you. And Indian sportsmen, they're very humble, down to earth. Of course, you can classify them as the wrestlers or the boxers who are less educated. But at the end of the day, they're all the same, at heart. They all want to win a medal. It's a question of how we handle them in terms of facilities. They have enough and more. Now, the government has really pumped in a lot of money and they're making an effort. And like Prabhjot Singh said earlier, there are a lot of NGOs also who've come into the fray. So they're very well looked after. It's a question of course, the federation, that is a grey area. They really need to pull up their socks. Not all of them. Some of them are really good. Wrestling, I really feel sad about it because I was looking after the wrestlers at Sonipat, and that was one of my best posting I ever had. And I'm very passionate about them. Though initially, I used to wonder to myself, where have I landed myself into? Because going straight from Delhi to a rustic place like Sonipat, but at the end of it, I started loving it. And I really, really feel sad the way the federation has handled the wrestlers. That should not have been done.
Totally agree. I think we all are unanimous in that. Vijayji, India's chances in the Olympics?
I'm very optimistic. But first, let me tell you that many top cricketers, they also sleep on the floor. Even today.
It's good for us.
गद्दा नीचे बना देते हैं.
No? Good for the back.
Yes, that's the reason. So they are far more comfortable sleeping on the floor. As far as Olympics is concerned, I think already we have a 40 have qualified individually, apart other than the hockey team. So I have a lot of faith on shooters this time. They will have to come good, and they have been promising. My colleague Kamesh, who is an expert on shooting, he says he is expecting the best from the shooters. Of course, I mean, I've never covered shooting, but I'm told that particular day, that particular time, you have to be perfect at that moment. So if your opponent makes a mistake, it's good for you, but you have to ensure that you are on target. There is no comeback. I mean, you have to be at your best. So shooters, I think will do well. Hockey, always. You can win 5 goals, but if hockey comes without a medal, you won't feel happy. Yeah, because in my career also, if we would lose at hockey, I would skip dinner. But it never happened with cricket. I wrote on cricket, but I never felt bad when they lost.
I skip dinner and breakfast and lunch also.
Hanji. So hockey is dear to everyone. If they can win a medal, great, and they have the potential. But shooters, I'm expecting, and a couple of athletes.
And a quick one for you. At 2028, we have cricket in the offing, don't we? At the Olympics. Women as well as men, I believe.
Women,
How do you see that?
be ready.
How do you see that?
Yeah, men. See, cricket in the US will always depend on the kind of playing conditions you come across. Even now, the World Cup, the biggest problem is the kind of pitches, because soil nahi hai. And you will have to have good pitches to ensure there is a decent T20 match. You can't have one team around 60, other one 48. So that will be bad for the game.
BCCI है ना जाएगा.
Yeah, but still the playing conditions.
Soil लेके जाएंगे.
Soil लेके जाएंगे.
Baseball of soil.
नहीं उधर scope नहीं है. Drop in.
We'll take soil from here.
Yeah, but drop in pitches का वहाँ पे scope नहीं है, and I hope we are now going to bid for Olympics, so that is good for Indian sports.
That's the election promise. So let's see. Okay, so I think we have to come to a close for this session as well as the day, and we have such eminent panelists that it's been fantastic to have you here. One closing remark from everyone, please. Vijay, you have a question?
I have one for Radhika. I've taken her permission.
He has a question for Radhika. Yes. So that's her closing remark.
Can
Then we'll have one closing by Manjusha and one by.
Can't we have sports running or sports events happening in India without the help of politicians? You will need them for all the clearances, getting sponsors. So, like Prabhjot was saying, politicians they interfere, but they are also the ones who create the way. I mean, अगर आपको कोई sponsor नहीं मिल रहा है, फोर लाख से बोलेगा स्पॉन्सरशिप मिल जाएगा और हाँ सो इवेंट मिल जाएगा डिस्काउंट मिल जाएगा होटल्स में वो आपको पॉलिटिशियन दिलाएगा बाकी कोई
तो उसको मेंटर बना दो ना चेयरमैन बना दो गवर्नर बना दो गवर्नर सीएम शुड बी अ स्पोर्ट्सपर्सन
But we did, like in cricket, they were not basically politicians, though they were politicians, of course, that's power.
they are there
Then sort of impact without government.
Every association is headed by chief minister, deputy chairman, sideways.
I think the cricket example is the wrong one for other sports here but Radhika ma'am.
Yeah, no, I don't think so, because throughout my career I've had some sports minister or the other, although I'm personally apolitical, but by virtue of my job I have to sort of work with them. But like we just said, I mean, they've been very helpful in getting clearances, getting visa, which is really, really difficult, particularly during the COVID time, and that's where we had the 2020 Olympics, and also going to other countries, and you get a whole lot of things, being with the politicians. Yes, Vijay Kumar Malhotra ji and Suresh Kalmari are two examples which you cited. Both of them are not there anymore, and with the sports court, we don't have that long tenures or politicians being on that seat. Yes, bureaucrats, we have few, but they don't stay there forever. So I don't think having a politician would be an interest. And also on the flip side, it's also they get a lot of mileage out of supporting a sports person. So that is the flip side. So I would like to look at the positives rather than the negatives.
Manjusha ji, any last word maybe for the younger sports persons?
Yeah, no, I don't know about the younger sportsmen, but there's that one word which you said, Olympianism, the meaning of, Olympic. It's generally creating a country, a sporting country. And I think we have a lot, to do to use sports as a tool to empower our society. And so there are many places that we can do that. And I would, as an ex-sports person, love to work in those pockets and generally make sports available and, make India into a sporting country. That doesn't mean having Olympic medals only. It's just that having sports everywhere, in villages and everywhere. And I think that will be a really good and a sector which is still hopeful and a lot more work to be done.
Absolutely. Yes, Prabhjot ji, any closing remarks?
Yeah. I think I just want to say a couple of things. Number one is when India will have, like we are talking about the gender equity in Olympics. For first time, Paris will have 50% male athletes, 50% female athletes. But when our contingent will have the same principle, our contingent, 100 sports people, 50 women, 50 men. I don't foresee in near future until we give a good chance of women athletes to do well. Because 1900, when Olympics were here for the first time in Paris, women events were introduced. And Charlotte Cooper, she was Wimbledon champion. She won the first medal as a woman. In 1924, that again aeronautics. And now, after 100 years, Paris is catching the Olympics again. At this time, 50-50. Up and say, I mean, the state men will stay elected. So when the world is coming that way, giving men and women equal chances, and our women have done well in recent years, but still the representation when we send teams to Olympics is much less than men. We have to do some little introspection so that give them their big.
Thank you. What an excellent discussion, extremely invigorating and very, very insightful, impactful. I was saying in the beginning, I think insightful, impactful and sharp and peppy panel we had, lively, and we didn't allow people to doze off. even if they were determined to. It's the end of the day and we still have a packed house, so very happy to see you all. I think it's been a great day,
Yes.
great discussions and excellent minutes taken by Bhavya over there and recordings over here. So we will not let these ideas dissipate into the thin air. We will try and send them to whoever needs to hear them, read them. हमें कोई डर नहीं है किसी को भी भेज देंगे हम. So we will send it to all across the country and as recommendatory ideas. And Playwright will continue to organize such events. Vijay has something to say.
I'm saying women are doing well in the print media also, more women than men now.
Yeah, women are doing well. So excellent. And so we have the closing ceremony and my gratitude to the sponsors once again, including Shweta ji, who's here, who's sponsored the beautiful t-shirts for all the speakers. Alas, not for the participants, maybe next year. So, not your fault. But also the main sponsor, Excel Scout and, am I pronouncing it correctly, Anshuman? Okay, Excel Scout and TT Consulting. So thank you to them and all the members of Vibrant and Novel Bunch. Also Glorious Cricket and guests. Thank you so much, and especially the speakers who've taken the trouble to come from other cities as well as from Chandigarh. Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I would request Shweta ji and Sandeep Nikai ji to kindly come up on stage and give over these mementos to our speakers here.
this couldn't so we are definitely not that is done. Yes, I'm name. And for that purpose, the age. Wow. First, it's
संदीप को चेयर से उठाई दिया.
just the way to understand your big and more right to the place that you're telling you to my boss. It's a thank you. Start this up, give up with you go well.
That is so nice. The body is being kind. Thank you, Omnia.
Let's have a group picture and come. We join for a picture. Yeah.
Likewise, yes.
Come. Thank you. Speak to that. The kind thing, you there? She don't give you. Thank you. Because you.